Betty Barr is British, but she has a Chinese name, Bai Li Shi. In the 1940s, her family lived in Shanghai. Her life was to experience a great change. After the outbreak of the Pacific War, the Japanese troops rounded up all European and American residents of Shanghai and detained them. Lunghua Civil Assembly Centre was one of these internment camps. In April 1943, Betty had just turned 10 and her whole family was sent to Lunghua camp. At the camp, she was no longer Betty. She was just a number, in her case, 22228. Food shortages, the cold, diseases and camp rules affected every detainee. Betty's mother kept a notebook. In it, she listed 1,033 camp rules. To protect the family, Betty's mother hid a sharp knife and covered it with her daughter's doll's bed.
In April 1945, planes wrote VVV in the sky. My parents wondered what it meant. The planes aimed to inform us of the Allied victory in Europe.
World War II devastated Europe, Asia, Africa and Oceania. Bloodshed and bombardment crossed 4 oceans. More than 20 million square kilometres of land and 2 billion people were plunged into the inferno of war. Children who should have been cared for and protected suffered. The cruel reality of wartime, however, strengthened young minds. Conflict had been raging for 14 years in China, and many young people played their parts to save the nation. When the night gets darker, the light of humanity shines even brighter. During World War II, Shanghai welcomed tens of thousands of Jewish refugees. Jews were slaughtered by the Nazis in Europe, but in a Far Eastern country, Jewish children flourished. Her name is Sonia Mühlberger, born in Shanghai. In 1938, Sonia's father was arrested and sent to Dachau concentration camp. With the help of his wife, he was later released from the camp. In April 1939, the couple arrived in Shanghai as refugees. 6 months later, Sonia was born. Sonia said, "If my parents had not fled to Shanghai, I would never have been born."
Also, als wir im August 1947 in Berlin ankamen, war niemand von unserer Familie dort, um uns abzuholen. Wir haben später erfahren, was in Deutschland passiert ist. Die ganze Realität kam später. Und wir haben also sehr, sehr viele Mitglieder unserer Familie verloren, die umgebracht wurden in Auschwitz, in Theresienstadt.
The power of justice expels evil and protects the country and the future. Mihoko is Japanese. Her parents died in a bombing in 1940 in North China. Mihoko, who was 4 years old, was rescued from the ashes of battle by Chinese troops. Nie Rongzhen, Commander-in-Chief of the Communist Shanxi Chaha Hebei military area, took her to his office. He fed her porridge and gave her some fruit. With concern for the child's well-being, Nie asked a villager to transfer her to a Japanese barracks and wrote a letter to the Japanese troops. In the letter he wrote, "I have sent this girl back. Please reunite her with her relatives so that she won't be left alone in a foreign country." Nie was a Chinese military leader, but also a father. He wholeheartedly believed that one should treat the children of others as you would treat your own. Sha Fei, a photographer in the military area, took these precious pictures. Sha hoped these pictures would resonate with those back in Japan. As Sha expected, on May 29, 1980, an article titled "Where Are You, Mihoko?" published by the People's Daily, received a lot of attention in both China and Japan. Journalists from the Yomiuri Shimbun, a Japanese newspaper, managed to find the girl. When Mihoko revisited China, she couldn't hold back her tears when she held Nie's hands. This selfless act sowed seeds of friendship for future generations. Today is May 8. 75 years ago on this day, Nazi Germany surrendered unconditionally and World War II came to an end in Europe. On August 14, 1945, the Japanese Emperor announced surrender to the Allies in the Parliament. On the morning of September 2nd, 1945, the Japanese government signed a surrender treaty aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. Many childhoods were tarnished by war. These sufferings make people more appreciative of peace.
I dream of peace all over the world, and I hope that children can live in a land of harmony and joy.
Niemals wieder soll ein Krieg die Menschen auseinanderbringen, Menschen töten oder wie auch immer.
私たちは生活が平和、美しさと愛の中で続いていくことを夢見ています。